Hello and welcome to my F1 24 driver career mode, here today for part 53 and round 3 of the 2027 Formula 1 season here at the legendary Suzuka circuit. We come into qualifying now, where we spent our first lap stuck in the gearbox of the Alpine of Esteban Ocon as Alonso goes fastest, beating his teammate. We round the final corner on our first run, that puts us into P10. We went again on the same set of tyres, we've run a bit wide, and that's going to be P7. And then our final run, we've found some time at the final corner, we're going to round it, it's going to put us into P9, where we drop down after P8. So this is the grid then ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. It's an Aston Martin 1-2 headed by Fernando Alonso. Sainz making it 3 front rows out of 3 so far this season. Then it's George Russell and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, Albon and Gasly, Norris and Leclerc. We are P9 alongside Lewis Hamilton, Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda, Ricciardo and Perez, Oscar Piastri and Zhou Guanyu, Hülkenberg and Vesti. And on the final row of the grid is Oliver Bearman and Lance Stroll with a penalty. So as we come on to the end of the formation lap, it's looking like it's going to be a one-stopper today, starting on the mediums, going to the hard tyres. No one really wants to touch that soft tyre today. It's really only good for qualifying. It is cloudy, it's not meant to rain. We could be in for a classic Japanese Grand Prix as everyone lines up on the grid. But here we go then to the 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix. We're racing in Japan, we've got a lot of wheel spin off the line, and we've been beaten by the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton. They're 3 wide in front, and there's contact. There's Albon's end plate has gone wide, has gone off as we run wide. We've got off the grass, we're over the grass again at turn 2. We've lost so many places on the opening lap. We're down to P15, to P16, unless we can start gaining these places back. And round the outside, we pull a lovely move on the Haas there to get past. Now we're on the back of the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. We need to get these places back early on, because the DRS train is very much what happens here in Suzuka. So we need to get these done early. Now, can we get past the McLaren? Yes, we can. To the inside at the hairpin, we nearly got Perez as well, but he's still there, Piastri, but eventually he does back out and we do keep him behind. Now as we go through 130R and towards the final chicane, we're just going to absolutely lick the stamp, send it down the inside at Sergio Perez. Job done on the Red Bull. Perez always seems to struggle here in Suzuka. Now we're on the back of the Williams of Daniel Ricciardo. There's a train starting to form here behind Albon with damage to that front wing. We're going to send it on the Williams, we're going to send it on the RB. We've gained 2 places there. We need to go aggressive on the opening lap, otherwise we're going to be stuck in a DRS train, and ultimately we do have the car. Over these there's a lock-up as we go down the inside of the Alpine of Ocon, and up the road next, look who it is, Lewis Hamilton. It's taken 3 laps for us to catch him back up after the start. Can we have a go to the inside at the hairpin? Yes we can. Down the inside, it's job done on the Ferrari. Up next is that wounded Williams, who we need to get past very quickly. Now as we head up towards 130R, we're extremely close to the back of the Williams, but we're going to be too far back to pull the Alonso move into 130R. But we're going to go fake to the outside, go down the inside. You can see the damage there to Albon's front wing, and we're back up to where we started by the end of lap 3, back up into P8. This is a replay now of Albon's start, and you can see initially it was a good start, and then just seemed to go wrong for him, and there's a contact with Leclerc, who's just turned into the side of him. Leclerc's lucky not to get away with a puncture or anything like that. Not really too sure what Albon's doing there. I think he was giving space to the McLaren on the outside. This is it from Hamilton's point of view, when Leclerc was further alongside to warrant the space, and Albon's just turning to the side of him. So strange one that, but Albon's come off worse, and now we were just stuck in a 2-second gap. We were 2 seconds in front of Albon. We were 2 seconds to those in front of us though, as it was a battle of Gasly, Leclerc and Lando Norris, as Leclerc tries to get the job done on the Alpine. Gasly having a good race so far. As we attempted to close in, we make a little mistake there. Now this is Leclerc again, lap 11 to the inside. Can he get the job done this time? Yes, he can. It's job done on the Alpine for the Ferrari. And by lap 12 we had caught the gap. We've got it down to 1.6 seconds or thereabouts. We were catching towards the end of the stint. We skip on to the end of lap 13 now, and you can see the gap in front, as this is Lando Norris coming in to try the undercut potentially. I think that's a good idea. That's what we were planning as well. So we're going to follow him in to make our one and only stop of the day. We've purple timed it. The mediums will go off. The hard tyres will go on, but it's going to go on slow on the rear right. We're going to have to wait for those pitting to go past us. It's been an absolute shocker of a pit stop. 5.5 seconds. We've lost minimum 3 seconds there, and those behind have really caught us back up. We were pulling away from them. You can see Albon there. We've really fallen back into him, and the McLaren, who we were working so hard to catch in the opening stint, is now miles up the road. As now this is the gap in front. Has Lando Norris done the undercut? Yes, he has. McLaren pulled off a worldie there. As they're going through turn 2, we're going through turn 1, and Ricciardo's overcut his teammate to get the job done on that wounded Albon car. And now we were just 6 seconds or thereabouts behind Gasly now after that poor stop. Right where we started in P8, we were continuing to pull on the Williams behind. This is Perez now further back, and his race is done, and that Honda engine on Honda soil has gone bang, and his day is over then in the Red Bull. It's game over for Sergio Perez as he drops all the way down to the back. And now we were slowly starting to catch Gasly. We got the gap down to under 5 seconds, but we are going to run out of laps. There's only 5 to go. And as we skip on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, Aston Martin have shown so much promise. They've dominated here in Suzuka. Fernando Alonso wins. Carlos Sainz makes it an Aston Martin 1-2. And Max Verstappen, who's dominated this race in the past, is going to come home for P3 to round out the podium. We got the gap down, all the way down to about 1.5 to 2 seconds to Gasly. But we ran out of laps, and we're going to finish where we started. It definitely doesn't tell the story of the race, but it's going to be P8.
Fernando Alonso has done it, and he takes the win. Well, a brilliant race for them today, as you can clearly see out there. They were really at one with the car, and as a driver you take comfort from the fact that you can win in a new set of regulations, and moving forward you're going to see that confidence rise more and more. Brilliant stuff today by them.
Aston Martin's performance today has shown that they can be competitive with the biggest names in the sport. They're making their way out onto the podium now as we speak, and the reaction from the crowd must be incredibly uplifting for them.
So this is the race result then. Fernando Alonso wins the Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Carlos Sainz, and then Max Verstappen coming home to round out the podium. George came home for P4, and then Lando Norris with that excellent strategy by McLaren rounds out the top 5. P8 for us definitely doesn't tell the story. Starting P9 we only gained 1 place, but after the running off the track at turn 1, then going over the grass at turn 2, dropping all the way down to pretty much last. The crucial part why that race was getting back ahead of that DRS train that was really starting to form behind Albon. Otherwise that would have been our race, but a very dull race for us to come home for P8. The one retirement of the day was Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, and then Frederic Vesti was the final finisher of the day. In terms of the championship then, and Fernando Alonso now takes over the lead of the World Championship by 4 points over his teammates, and then Max Verstappen is 10 points back, and then 9 points back is Lando. We're 7 points off of Lando in P5, and we're ahead of our teammate George Russell. And then down at the back there's still a lot of drivers still yet to score after the opening 3 races of the season. And then in terms of the constructors, Aston Martin take over the lead of the constructors. We're down to P2. We are 56 points behind Aston Martin, and then Red Bull are P3, McLaren P4, and Williams round out the top 5. And then there's still 3 teams, that being RB Haas and Sauber, who are still yet to score this season. So that's been your Japanese Grand Prix. I hope you have enjoyed it. Bit of a dull one. We go to Miami next for our first sprint weekend of the season, and hopefully we can get back towards the front. I'll see you in Miami. Goodbye.